My name's Abi Dunn. I'm the founder of 68 People, and I'm hosting a series of interviews as part of the Virtual People and Training Conference for Propel. This morning, I'm delighted to have with me somebody who I've wanted to get into the head of for a while. You will all know her as Caryn Savazzi from the Loungers Group. Good morning.
Good morning, Abi. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, considering right now I'm here in South Wales and it's all feeling quite different. Obviously, Wales coming out of lockdown when England's gone in, so quite strange.
Yeah, so yeah, a big week then for Wales this week, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So for those people who maybe been under a stone and don't know so much about Loungers Group, tell us a little bit about Loungers PLC.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty well documented story. The business started back in 2002. Three long-standing friends, Jake, Al, and Dave, fancied having a bar of their own, so did a lot of research into it and secured a site in Bristol. Sort of knew what they were doing, setting it up, thought they'd do a bit of food because it happened to have a kitchen in the back. Opened it up after a while. Being really hospitable people, they did incredibly well. It was popular with customers. They opened a second, Loungers was born, and the business has really grown out of the southwest over the last 18 years. It's really ramped up in the last sort of 3 or 4 years. So we are now in a position where we've got 168 sites, and for the last 3 or 4 years we've been opening up a restaurant at a rate of 1 a fortnight. COVID's slowed that down for a while. It was our plan to open 25 this year. We've only opened 3, 2 lounges. So we've got our 2 brands. We've got Lounge, which is cafe bars. We've got 138 of them from Cornwall up to Hull. And then we've got cozy clubs, and we've got 30 of them from Plymouth up to Durham's off furthest north. So 4,500 employees. We continue to believe that there's plenty of other places that we can open up in over the next few years. And then really significantly last year, we floated the business. And that had been a long-term ambition of the founders and the CEO. And what's been great about that is that we've been able to make nearly 700 of our team shareholders. And what that's meant is that we've now got all of these people that have got a real sense of ownership to the business. And yeah, that's Loungers.
Wow, amazing. A restaurant every 2 weeks, crikey, that's a huge demand.
Casey, yeah.
And specifically your people team, tell us a little bit about what that structure looks like.
Well, there wasn't a people team when I joined the business just over 3 years ago. There were people doing roles. So there were recruiters and there were some trainers, but it wasn't actually galvanized into a team. So developing that sense of team was an important thing to start to do. The structure still isn't particularly large considering the scale that we've got. There's 7 or 8 in the team in total.
Okay. Wow.
So a head of L&D, 2 training managers, 2 recruitment managers, and then we've got 2 people that look after sort of people care side of stuff and do some insight work for me.
That does sound quite a small people team.
Yeah, it is, but there's a logic to it, is that we've got a pretty heavy ops structure. So we support ops, but actually empower our ops to do quite a lot that normally training would do, or perhaps more classically recruiters would do. So we get ops to actually do quite a lot of that work for us. So there's a really nice partnership between operations and people.
Yeah, brilliant. And actually, ops always want to get involved in that part as well, don't they? They're sometimes
good stuff.
Numbers, yeah. So, kind of looking back over, the last 7 or 8 months, what are the biggest challenges that Loungers as a business has faced?
Oh, well, I think, we've all been in the same position, haven't they? There's that adage of we've all been in the same sea, not necessarily in the same boats as such, the same storm. It's been full on. Managing lockdown, becoming a people furlough expert overnight, working
learning the word.
how to galvanise a team that are distanced from one another, supporting people that are feeling really vulnerable. And then there's that small matter of, I'm a mum of 2 boys, so I had to homeschool 2 boys for a 4-month period as well. That was difficult, and clearly we've all got our own mental health. There's been days where I've been thinking, I could quite happily have a lie-in and not face the music today. But we've all had to adapt and overcome and face what's been in there. So in terms of the greatest challenges, I think for me and for the business, it's been the same thing. We've had to adapt, overcome, keep patient, and a lot of patience has been required when some things have been changed at the 11th hour and then changed again. And to keep a shot of humour amongst all of this, look for the positives, look for the green lights and all of these things.
Yeah. And you mentioned, kind of how people are feeling in the business. What's been the challenge in terms of how you've dealt with, the team's kind of mental health and, your own team's mental health?
So we have an email channel called The Voice. Okay. And what The Voice is a way that any of our team can basically get straight to me or my team and ask any query or question that they've got. So we kept in very regular comms with the team during the first lockdown. We introduced Yapster, which really helped as well. So between the comms that were coming out from Nick, our CEO, comms that were coming out from me, going out via email to all team, there being The Voice that they could email straight to us having Yapster, so we were able to talk about what we were doing, and for our team to be able to post what they were doing during lockdown, and then indeed when they've come back to work and how they feel about being back together. And now we're into lockdown too. So, that's picked back up again now. So people are starting to share on there what they're doing in baking challenges. And we've got a Loungers 5,000 that we've just launched this week, which is for our team to skip 5,000 miles inside the month. So we've managed to keep lots of entertainment and fun inside the business. And I think we've needed to look for all that, good things.
Yeah, I think you're right. Keeping that good humour has been absolutely crucial, hasn't it?
Yeah,
if you don't laugh, you'll cry, kind of thing. What would you say has surprised you over the last few months about our industry and our sector?
I don't know if it's been a massive surprise, but what has been delightful is how supportive everybody has been of one another.
Yeah,
I think lots of the big businesses have always been really supportive of the SMEs and the independents, but that's just completely dialed up over the last 8 months in helpfulness, sharing best practices, little webinars, sessions, Zoom meetings that have gone on. With the clock very much ticking against us all, I think we've really pulled together to try and get as many good businesses up and through all of this.
Yeah.
So I've been really pleased with that focus on, survival. And what pleases me now is when I'm hearing ministers talk on a pretty much daily basis about hospitality. I mean, the talk that there is now going to potentially be a hospitality minister, that wouldn't have happened, not this fast, without COVID. If you're ever going to look to some sort of silver lining of this horrible situation that we've all been in, for an industry, I look at that and think, well, that's really quite exciting for the industry, that we're being talked about. There's an understanding, I think, so much more now about the contribution of hospitality to the economy, that there's a much better understanding about the scale of hospitality as an employer. And then what I hope comes off the back of that is that there then becomes more of an association that hospitality, you can get meaningful careers and you can stay in hospitality. People like me, you know, who have been in hospitality since 16 years of age and have a great career and absolutely love this business.
No, you're totally right. And actually, I've kind of thought, you know, being concerned about, you know, people wanting to come into hospitality in the future. But actually, if you look at it your way, it has, you know, we've had some great press. You know, the camaraderie of the sector has been fantastic, hasn't it?
Absolutely, you know, and the lobbying and some of the heavy lifting that CEOs have done, and UK hospitality, Kate Nichols, you know, body legend.
Yeah.
Just brilliant. You know, you've got to look to the good sides of this and think, yes, there will undoubtedly be some people that will look at hospitality and think, is that now a less secure business? You know, if there were, heaven forbid, another pandemic, you know, in the future, will there be a talent drain, people moving from hospitality? But, you know, let's try and look at the light having been shone on us, and how great we've been, and how rousing it was with Eat Out to Help Out in August. And when everybody was finally allowed out, they had this fabulous scheme, which meant that everything that they had missed out on and craved for so long, they were able to have. And I think there's now this real pent-up thirst for hospitality. It's that classic thing, you never know what you appreciate until you've not got it. And I think, I'm hopeful that when it is, you know, more safe, and we've worked so incredibly hard on training and making everything safe and changing standard operating procedures and all of the cleaning that we've been doing, that people will be thinking, I can't wait to get back into those restaurants and be really supportive of, irrespective of size of business, be it independents, smalls, or the larger groups. Get out there and dine and enjoy that hospitality and that interaction that we've all missed so much.
Yeah, fingers crossed for that 3rd of December, eh? Just specifically talking about recruitment for a moment, where do you think the last few months, you know, what has that meant for, in your perspective, recruitment? Has it made life easier potentially because there are candidates on the market? Is it now tougher to get people into hospitality jobs?
Well, we did quite a lot of recruitment in July and August when we reopened after the first lockdown. And we had a huge influx of applications, so that was really encouraging. But clearly we've also got the backdrop of Brexit and the need for settled status for EU citizens going forward. So, you know, we could be back into bun fight position for chefs that, you know, we've all talked about for so long. So in the short term, we've had an influx, but I can see there being recruitment challenges next year, and we'll need to think creatively about how we can attract great people into the business. What I have seen, however, is really strong retention of our tenured team, because there has previously been quite a lot of transiency of chefs, some of managers that have liked to work in lots of different businesses. I think stability in role has become more important, and definitely we've seen people less keen to move on, and we've not lost people to travelling, which, you know, we often do.
Yes.
And we've not seen as many people actually going to university. We've had lots of people inside our team that planned on going into uni this year and have decided to take a year off and stay with us before they move on. I've seen some positives.
Yeah. And in terms of L&D, you know, has the last few months changed? You know, we've all got such easy access to everything now digitally. You know, has the last few months changed what the future of L&D looks like?
I think it's probably been a catalyst more than anything else. That there's a lot of virtual learning going on anyway. I think e-learning's had a bad rep over the last few years, and there's been a lot of dull content out there, you know, lots of death by PowerPoint. However, I've seen some really good stuff over the last few months. We're currently embarking on some unconscious bias training for all of our managers. All head chefs, all general managers, taking everybody through it, all of our head office team as well. We recently signed up to Brace at Work Charter, so it's part of a large body of work that we're doing. And it's the best e-learning that I have come across. It is really engaging, really thought-provoking. And actually, this lockdown is a good time to do it because people can reflect on their thoughts. We're doing some follow-up webinars in small groups then, and we'll be asking people, so, you know, what are you now consciously aware that you were blissfully unaware of previously? And I'm really looking forward to those conversations. So what else is the future going to hold in L&D? I think customers will always have an expectation that is higher now in terms of sort of safety and hygiene expectations. Again, that's a good thing. So I think there will be lots more of that. That won't go away. So there'll be a lot more refresher training going on. And then more bite-sized learning. That's not new. Operators, it's like torture, isn't it? Asking an operator to sit down for half a day or a day. So we'll just be embarking on a lot more of that.
Yeah. I think gone are the days of the traditional training room anyway, aren't they? In the
yeah. In the main, I believe so.
Yeah. And just, I'm interested to know about, you know, how do you measure your, you know, such a huge business in comparison? You know, how do you measure your success, both personally, you know, and with your team?
I suppose the quickest way to measure success in the team is how busy is the phone and how busy is your email. If you're being contacted regularly, it shows you're adding value, that what you've got to say is a consequence and people care about what you've got to say. I also definitely measure my team in their ability to not just be managing the firefighting side of stuff, which can be challenging when you're moving at pace. But that they're also looking to sort of constantly improve and look back and review and improve everything that we're doing. The team as well, I definitely look at the team's willingness to sort of pull together and do things that are past their remit. I love the fact I'm lucky I've got a really talented team, a fabulous team. And they keep me on my toes, which is great. But they are really keen to broaden their skills as well. They don't just work in silos. As a recruitment manager, they want to have a wider awareness of what is going on in the business and get involved in different projects. And I want to encourage that. So when they're all doing that and the operators are asking for our support, I think we're doing quite well on that front.
And you mentioned earlier that kind of relationship with operations, that, you know, that's a really positive one. How do you measure that?
How do we measure it? I think, you know, it's the working relationships that we've got with our operators, the humour that we've got. We're definitely not a classic sort of HR team that is seen as in an ivory tower. Everybody inside my team actually has some operational experience, having worked in lots of different businesses before. So what how they approach things is very much bedded in operational reality. So I think that's respected as well, that we're not asking people to do things that are going to be illogical or unrealistic in terms of time or commitment. And when you've grown up in operations as well, I think that the operators then can understand that they can't sort of pull the wool over your eyes on things, because you know all the hacks and tricks too.
Definitely. And I've always kind of wondered this about Loungers Group. You know, when you do have such a lovely culture, and you know, when I've met people that have worked for you, they really do kind of talk about that. How do you get that? You know, when you've got, you know, such fast growth, so many sites, how do you keep that you know, culture throughout the business without diluting it?
That's a challenge, isn't it? You know, so many businesses will say, well, with growth will come the dilution of your culture. When you've not got your founders, your senior leadership teams sort of touching the business every day, that's your risk. It comes back to the recruitment of the people that you hire. They've got to have a similar value set to you. They've got to have that spirit of hospitality. You know, we've built lounges on a great spirit of adding value in local communities and genuinely being kind to one another as a team and to the people that you are serving as well. So it comes down to ensuring that we only recruit people that have that central to their motivation. When we make a bad hire, i.e. somebody that doesn't feel that way, then we're diluting what we're doing. We definitely look for funny or orientated people as well. Don't take ourselves too seriously. And I think that's really important, whether you're a leader in a business, you're a manager of the business, or you've come in as a chef. You know, you've got to enjoy the work that you do, and you've got to think, I want to be as happy at work as I am at home, if not more so. So, you know, let's go with that mindset.
And I suppose just to, on a similar note, what advice would you give to, you know, leaders of people directors that are maybe, you know, a lower number of sites to you and looking to get to where you guys are at? What have you learned, you know, in terms of advice that you would offer?
That's a good question, Abi. Well, I think lots of businesses, when they open, they've already got some defining features to them. So that who they attracted into the business, you know, what they do, why people are staying there, they've already got the culture sort of starting to roll. So if you're looking to build a team then, a sort of people team, you can probably just logically start at the beginning of the employee life cycle and say, well, you know, how do we look at who we attract and select? That's the bits that you can get wrong, I suppose, and that's the bits that can cost your reputation and cost you financially if you haven't got all due diligence correct, all your right to work processes. You know, there's a bit of a minefield there, isn't there? So I think, you know, start at the beginning from there and then look to how you induct and train people. And you don't have to have a team that has that siloed sort of remit. In every business that I've worked in, there's always been those wonderful go-to people who naturally want to train because they're passionate about the standards of the business. So, you know, rather than thinking, I need to bring in a training manager, you know, go to your good eggs, those ones that are already doing it for you. They've probably created their own training materials and they're probably pretty much as good as you're going to be able to create for yourself. Yeah. You know, so leverage that internal talent. Hugely passionate about, where possible, to promote from within, because it's far easier to do that. Those people have got the right tone in the way that they converse, both in person and in writing, and then it's really easy to introduce some skills on how to write training plans and materials. And I think it's just go from there, you know, work through the other elements of the employee life cycle and just make sure everything's personal and practical.
That's great advice. Listen, Caryn, thank you so much for joining me. That's been absolutely fantastic. I've loved it. Yeah, I really appreciate your time, and obviously I wish you the best of luck with all the reopening plans.
Smashing. Thanks very much, Abi.
Thank you.